Sweet. So, hey, I'm Katie Decker, the baddest bitch in all the land. No, friend from high school. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about dance. So it's kind of funny, I guess. Like, I never really trying to think back to like I don't know when I knew you. I guess I was, or like when I knew you first. I guess in high school, like I was the least into dance that I kind of ever was. Like, I remember trying out for the dance team in like freshman year and getting frustrated with the choreography and like not doing it.
You
But
did dance too?
um, yeah, I
Really?
tried out with Ariel Dellinger. Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
God.
it was the weirdest thing. Yeah, with Miss Ridenhour. I think Lauren Turner was on it
Okay.
actually.
Yes, I do
And
remember
like
that.
that like whole crew they were so good. Oh my gosh, I was like always low key jealous. But um I've been dancing, I guess, since I was 3. So I started I did tap, jazz, and ballet from like 3 to 7, and then I kind of went into hip hop. I like added that in, and then I kind of never looked back from that because that's what is really fun. So I stopped when I was about 13 because at kind of at that point, if you were good enough, you would join the company. So you'd
Mhm.
be like dance would be your whole life. You'd be dancing, 2, 3 hours a day, every single day. And there was actually like a lot of fat shaming at my studio, not like really overt, I guess, better than most dance places, because I'm sure you've heard, that's kind of a stigma in dance. And I was like not chubby, but I was like a thicker kid. So like, they like make me I'd be the only person in like a full length shirt when like the rest of the team was like showing off, whatever. So I was just kind of discouraged basically. And I was like, well, I guess dance isn't for me if I'm like, not a stick. So I just kind of stopped dancing for a while. But I got back into it in college. So
Mhm.
I forget why. I think I just had like a midterm, and one of my best friends on my floor was like, hey, there's this really cool like dance class at the gym called Power Pop. Like, why don't we go? And it was this super empowering class. Like, it was,
Mhm.
people from, all shapes, all sizes, all ages, which was super cool. So, and we would just dance to pop music. Like the first half was kind of like traditional Zumba. You do like routines. And the second half was like a choreographed dance that she'd teach us. And it was so much fun. I went like every Sunday night. It like set the tone for my week. It was awesome. And so eventually I like went so much, I started training to teach it. And then I did start teaching it. So
Mhm.
my junior and senior year, I taught, and it was just so much fun. It was so rewarding because it kind of like just seeing people again, no matter their fitness level, they would just go out there and try. Like I had, and there's like fitness level, age, like, coordination level. There was this one Portuguese professor, and she was probably like in her 60s or 70s.
Nice.
And she was always in the front row. And, she'd always be like 1 or 2 counts behind, like doing like minimal, like tiny movements. And I was like, oh, and she like never wanted to do the partner dances. Like she would never want to like touch anyone else. I was like, okay, like it's fine. Like I get it. I can't make you. But I thought she showed up to like every other one of my classes, and I taught like 2 or 3 a week. And so, finally at the end of, when I was about to graduate, I like had this big 2 hour long class. I was like, hey, this is like my last class. It was really fun. 80 people came, and she was there, and she was like, it's been so fun to see you grow, over the last 2 years. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that like you cared. Like I thought you just came because this is the time that worked. And she's like, no, like you've grown into such a good instructor, and like I love your class, even though I'm not always like, able to do all the moves. Like you always make me feel so included and everything. And I was like, oh, I feel so good. And there was another like a group of freshman floor mates like that came, and first there were just 2 friends that came, and then they started bringing more of their floor mates, and they finally came up to me after one of my classes, and they're like, oh, can we do like this one song next time? Because I would always ask for requests, and they were like, yeah, like can we do Fixed? I was like, oh sure, like I always like to start with that one. They're like, yeah, we've taught like our whole floor, and like we all do it in the hallway together. And I was like, oh my gosh, like and a lot of them were like, yeah, I've never really danced before, but it's just so much fun, and like, you know non-judgmental. Like when you come to this class, it doesn't matter. I'm like, oh, that's like exactly how dance should be. I feel like it's just this human thing.
Yeah.
Like you hear music, or not even
And it's definitely
like,
it's a cultural thing too, because
oh yeah,
especially in like certain cultures, like especially like how I grew up, it's like you don't dance or sing or play an instrument unless you're good at it, or like if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing those things and you're
Oh
not the
yeah.
best, then you're judged. And that's
Oh
so
yeah.
shitty, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Learning that like you don't have to be the best at things is like, I mean, very much a lesson I've been learning since college. Like ever having gone to Cal and being like, oh, I'm like suddenly not good at what I thought I was good at my whole
Right.
life, and being like, that's why I kind of dove into dance, because I was like, even if it's not the best, like you're still having fun. You can
Mhm.
still, make people dance with you. And I ended up joining like more competitive level like dance teams, like junior and senior year of college too. And that was fun. But I think I always just got the most fulfillment out of like those Zumba classes, because you could just laugh the whole time, and like I would always incorporate like dabs and stuff and like jokes, and everybody would just come and they're like, this is the highlight of my week. It's like so much fun, and I'm not even a good dancer and I'm not even that fit, but like someone came up to me, she's like, oh, I've lost 10 pounds during your class, like I've like, who cares about that? I've become way more confident. And like
Mhm.
watching people start in the back of the class, like the very back row, trying to hide, try to hide in a room full of mirrors, but they tried. And then by the end, they were like in the front, like really just going ham. And I was like, you know what? Like, you look better than I do. I'm not going as ham today because I'm tired, but look at you, like you're doing great, and they're like, wow, I've become so much more confident. Because it's like, if I thought I couldn't do this and now I can, it's like, what else can you apply that to,
Right. And I think
So
that's such a like especially so like you and I come from like very science heavy backgrounds and then have
yeah.
found a lot of like joy and passion in the arts and dancing and music
Mm-hmm.
and drawing, and it's really kind of empowering to like grow into yourself through a
Mm-hmm.
medium that is all about like joy and beauty and energy. And I think that's like I do remember like when I was in college and I'd like visit you, I was like, whoa, this is so sick. Like I don't know anything about
Yeah.
dance, but I want to go dance. Just talking to you, just listening to this
Yeah. Just like,
conversation.
oh man, I know. It's just trying to think. Like one song that always gets me dancing right now is, I'm sure you've heard it. It's kind of popular. Head and Heart by Joel Corey
Yes.
and Manek or whatever. Oh my gosh. I'll do the dumb TikTok like in my room, or like when I'm driving. That's another thing. I always dance when I drive,
Me
because
too.
like, and my license plate is dance DNZ, and people think it's the funny, like they're like, oh, is it like D's nuts, is it like whatever. I'm like, are you kidding? Come on, like if you know me in real life, like
Right.
that's like, and it's not just that I'm a huge Fall Out Boy fan, that's not why I got it, because I'm asked that too. But yeah, it's just like I always dance in the car,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's just a good way to like practice stuff. It was a good way for me to like practice my choreography. Like I do it walking to class, and now
Right.
I guess the equivalent is like commuting to work. But it's just so fun. I'm always like jamming out, and someone caught me jamming out in my car. It was like a girl and her dad, and she like was just looking like, I was like, she's like, oh my gosh, like she wasn't laughing at me. She was more like laughing in like admiration. And I was like, yeah, just like there are no rules. Like you can dance in your car. Like who cares? Like if people say that that's lame, then they're lame.
Exactly. So I
Life's too
lived in
short.
Berkeley last year.
Mm-hmm.
I like moved there and it was amazing. And I
Oh,
was driving around dancing in my car one day and I just like
yes.
immediately the next person over, like they saw me and then they started dancing with me and I was like, this
Yes.
is the culture that I want. This is what is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I have this like pipe dream of like playing Build Me Up Buttercup in the middle of traffic, and just like rolling down my windows and everyone just starts dancing along. But I'm like, okay, it's kind of not happening with,
We'll orchestrate that.
LA. I don't know. I'm like, maybe I will try, like what's in La La Land with that first like scene of the movie, right? They were like all, dance together on the freeway. I was like, that'd be so much fun. But I don't know. People in San Diego drive too fast to do that. We don't have enough traffic.
Traffic in LA is already dangerous enough and I'm like jamming in my car and I'm like, wow, I'm not the worst driver around and that's shocking because normally I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah. Yeah. Driving in San Diego is maybe more reckless for sure. Like I don't know, it's easier to drive down here than in LA, but people just drive way faster. And I'm like, oh gosh. But
Well, on that note, thank you for talking about dance. I love
you are
learning
so
about it.
welcome.
This is like the most energetic thing I've done this week, just talking to you about it. So
Love it. I want to go dance instead of doing my engineering work that I have to do for work.
Same.
But
Except art. Anyways, thank you.
of course, always a pleasure.